this will actually surprise everyone here on the Patreon. This is the start of a new series called The World of Cat People. And we figured there has been enough of an interest in this particular subject and enough galactics that are of cat lineages and whatnot to actually start this series. And we decided to come out here. This is Sacred Mountain again, to film in the same spot. We talked to those dog beings that were out here, those particular elementals. They didn't channel, but they gave information. So what I'm going to do is go right into the first group. This group may qualify as a henchman race, or they may qualify, as the descendant lineage that is different from, like, say, the Lyrans, for instance. So one would think the Lyrans would be the very first group that was on this type of show. But this particular group was a bit impatient. Not that I'm going to allow the channeling thereof with this particular group. I'll go into it a little more. Several months back, I was actually made aware of a group that exists down in the Phoenix Desert area that are a Lyran descendant lineage. Now, they warned against this group. They're a Black Panther-looking race. And they exist in Phoenix all the way up into Sedona. Some people have spotted them up in this area here as well. And so they've been known to be very temperamental, very mean to people, and also have caused some of the missing persons cases. So they sometimes borderline on highest good, let's just say. And so what I'm trying to say, they're trying to pull this out of my head as I'm trying to speak here. So this just proved to me what side they're actually on here. So
which was interesting, because before we actually said hello and you were trying to figure out what was going on, they were being a bit temperamental, because where we actually are and where we decided to go ahead and do this recording is more of a neutral, considered a neutral space, and they were very upset that we didn't drive to their territory, and being quite temperamental about it, which again would be a clue to anyone out there that, benevolence for your highest good isn't necessarily going to throw a fit if you choose to be a little bit more cautious where you are, and feeling that you want to go into an area that's a little more neutral to have a conversation, because I don't feel that conversations cannot be had in a neutral place. It's just a conversation. So I don't see any issue with a race of anybody coming into a neutral spot necessarily, if all they're planning on doing is just having a conversation. So this group was kind of
they were insistent that we go into either the Phoenix area or another area that they held sovereigns. One of their sovereign territories. That's a red flag to me. And this is like more of a tribal group. They're not necessarily technologically advanced. They're advanced telepathically. They have some of the abilities that their forebears, the Lyrans, had. From what the Lyrans told me, that they were from an alternate timeline. That's how they put it to me. This group would say that they were a descendant lineage, and that they've lived on the Earth for quite some time. They're descendants of the original Lyran colonists. So there's a difference in point of view, as well as to the origin story of this group. Picture Black Panther-looking people, and they sometimes wear feathers in their hair. That's probably where some of the natives got that idea from, around the ears. And they have large greenish golden eyes. I counted these bugs. There's a lot of gnats and stuff out here today. A lot of flies and everything out here today. But they have greenish golden eyes, large eyes. Sometimes they've appeared in dreams for people. Some people have told me that they've felt them watching them as they came into this area. Recently, I had a dream where Joanne and I were in a building that was very much like the Phoenix Psychic Fair. We were interacting with people there, and I migrated outside to a path that looked very much like the areas that you're seeing behind us here, and into a rocky outcropping. And I remember approaching a being that stopped me, this Black Panther-looking being that could go on all fours or upright, and pushed me away. Well, to my left appeared a man with a knife, and I jumped out of his way. I saw that as either like a mental projection that this being was putting out, or it was a representation of somebody that was being controlled, that like this group mentally can control people from time to time, which then that qualifies them as a henchman race as far as I'm concerned. If you do something like that to people, if they're keeping somebody out of their territory, different story. But us being shown the Phoenix Psychic Fair, that told me that that's where we were being watched by this group. And this is what I took away from that. But in that scenario, I was actually speaking their language, doing this like guttural, like sounding language. And when I woke up, I heard a being speaking to me, thanking me for greeting them in their native tongue. And it was one of these Black Cat people. And a lot of these groups have their different agendas. They want to get their different messages across, their different points of view. Some good, some can derail a certain ideal or pathway too, depending on whether the agenda is cohesive or not to your own. And this particular individual is quite irritated, especially the fact that I won't channel him. And that's another red flag there, folks. You run across beings such as this. Also, years and years ago, this was back in year 2000. I believe it was year 2000, 2001. I'd had a dream about these beings where I was in a moonlit rocky outcropping of Sedona, and came up, and one of these beings was in the dream that attacked me. But it had a glyph inside of, like on its forehead. It had like a backwards, like F-looking symbol on its, like branded into its forehead, and it was in its eyes. Like that was a form of programming, like somebody programmed them at some point. And I didn't know what that meant at that time. Now I know it's some kind of programming. But in the scenario, this was in the Sedona area, and the ones there have been known to look a little more brown, have some brown streaking in the fur, not just black. And they're highly temperamental. They've been known to push vehicles, and also guide people off cliffs. It's not just them, but they've also been known to do this. Other positive groups have warned people away from them. So in the Sedona area, or even here, don't go out in the middle of the night. Also up in the Sedona area, don't go up in the hills in the middle of the night. Chances are you're going to run into one of these guys. The forest people have warned us before. My mother years ago was up there with a friend up in the hills at night in their vehicle, and they felt the car being pushed, and they heard a cat roar in the background. And these guys are super strong, and they have been known to grab people throughout history. The Old West has several tales about them specifically, grabbing hunters, grabbing trappers, cattle ranchers, all of that. So again, I just got this major confirmation to that. It was just like when I said Old West and grabbing cattle ranchers and cowboys and all of that, it was just, and that goes back to another vision I had years ago, where I saw a guy getting walled up in a cave in this area somewhere, and these bandits had walled up some lawmen in a cave, and then he ended up getting chased down by one of these creatures and killed. They walled him up in there knowing full well something was going to come after him. They didn't know what, they just knew something. And so this is a lot of where these legends come from. I would like to think these beings have evolved out of this, given their original heritage. But there are some humans that don't act like some of their ancient forebears either. So, you can't really, you can kind of compare that. But I point this direction as that's where they're coming in from. But given their level of impatience, I don't like to have to report on things like this. But the feeling that I'm getting is they're nothing like the Lyrans. Nothing. Spiritually, they're nothing like the Lyrans. They're very temperamental. Do you have something good to say instead of trying to lure us into your territory? He's saying something in his own language. It's like he's doing some kind of, like, I don't know if this is a spell or something. They're very they know magic. I know that they know spells, incantations, curses. They when they want to get their way. And think of like witch cats, basically, negative kind. Not like a witch's familiar, like a black cat. Don't compare it, because one's good, one isn't. This may be where people got the idea that black cats were bad in some fashion. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. That it's loosely based on that. But it's like they can perform spells, scrying. They seem to be able to do all of this. Like they can communicate. Like I had a dream where another one came in to attack me, and the real Lyrans bailed me out of it, where I had gotten some kind of poison or something injected in me, and the Lyrans told me that they also had a venom, kind of like a werewolf, where they could inject somebody with some kind of venom, and they inherit the codes of that particular race. It's kind of like a werewolf scenario in that fashion, or like a werecat, if you want to call it that. And that's the comparison they made. It was like it was some kind of transformative venom. It can infect a light body or a physical body. Light body, it just brings codes back in. Physical body, I'm not sure if the transformative thing actually happens. Like in a werewolf scenario, I feel this is probably true for them too. But this is where this conversation seems to be going. They operate through like these cauldron like portals. People can conjure them almost like jinn. That's what I was shown in this other dream sequence, where it was through a flat portal of some sort, and it's almost like a scrying meets a Ouija board meets a pendulum, is what it is, with a mirror. And well, do you have anything to say in your defense here? You know, you're not defending yourself too much. It's like I'm speaking truth here.
Did you say they had a race name that they like to use?
Do you have a name of your race? I know you don't like Lyran, and the Lyrans tend not to like you guys for whatever reason, and there's probably a reason for that. I need you to speak English, please. My brain's not translating your language. It's like you're speaking backwards. Demons have been known to do that. In the mythology, anyway. I'm thinking that's true of any negatively oriented species that's on the other end of maybe another timeline where the speech is backwards. It's on the other end of the looking glass somewhere. That's usually where the backwards speech thing comes from. So, they're doing that guttural thing like I was doing in the dream. Like, that's how they're talking, almost like an African tribe. Like, that's how they're speaking. Mixed with like cat going, that's how they're talking. Now they are, anyway. My brain usually translates galactic languages, but I know you're not totally galactic, you're elemental and native to an area. I understand that. Why are you doing this to people? If you want your point of view said, now's the time. But I'm not going to promote an agenda that is not cohesive to us or anyone else. That's not looking very good in your corner here, guys. They said we have taken people in the past, but it was because they were offered to us. That doesn't really help your case any, guys. That just means that you were given sacrifices and you accepted, like the Draco would. That doesn't help you at all, actually. So give me a good point of view, something people can work off of here. If you want respect and you want your territory respected, and not lure people into it, you're going to have to present something else. Okay, yeah, we know you've been here for thousands of years, but you're a descendant lineage. You've told me that before, and the Lyrans regard you as from a negative timeline. I know they said they would say that, but here again, here's your time. Here's this open forum, and I'm not channeling you. You're too low vibration. Okay. This still doesn't help you. They said they have laid curses down on people.
Well, what do you want? What do you want your relationship to be with humans?
Learning about the different intricacies of their race, which, okay, now's your time, and that why they do what they do.
Oh, again, here is your time.
Here's your time. Why do you do it? Okay, we'll just go that route. Why do you do what you do? Okay. And? Okay. It's for the survival of their race because humans turned on them at one time. They claim humans became frightened of them, and humans became more susceptible to programming. So they decided for humans that would invade their territory, they saw it as either an offered sacrifice or the chance to curse a lineage.
So you never go outside of what you consider your territory and harm anyone?
No. They don't leave their territory.
And so, what is your territory?
Some of Sedona, the slice of Sedona, like what the forest people were saying, like what I saw in that dream sequence a very long time ago, and most of the outer Phoenix area, in the basically we call it the Dust Bowl areas, or dirt. A giant litter box is basically what it is.
So what other races that are in the area that you've negotiated out your land places with, would they agree with that statement that you just said, that you don't venture out of your territory and harm people? Would they agree?
No, they see as telepathic harassment as reaching out from the territory.
That's why I'm saying, because we've been telepathically harassed by you not being in your area, and so you don't see that because you take it literally. We don't literally step foot out, which is interesting because literally I think why you're mad is that this is actually a temple space that we're standing in and you cannot influence it.
Yeah.
Because you know why, Chris? I just realized, do you see this area right here? That literally looks like do you see it in here? I'm see how the trees are bent and everything? I'm realizing, holy crap, we're literally standing right outside of where it looks like to me somebody or something must sit. It truly is a temple
there's like
space.
This looks like almost like a fairy circle or a. I'll describe it and I'll eventually turn the camera around and show you.
I kept staring at it, going, "Oh my gosh, it looks like." That's been our luck. I will tell you, we're not searching these places down. The last few places we've gone out in Sedona, and different places where we ended up being in pockets or right in the middle. We technically have, and I say bumbled. I'm sure it's our perceived higher selves putting us in a place. But what I'm saying is that we have literally walked into places, and before we turn the camera on, we're actually in sacred places.
This feels like a sacred place.
But that I'm like, you've got a path to walk right in there, a path to literally sit down. It literally is a true little temple.
This is a fairy circle. This has got to be like a fairy circle.
So I'm realizing that we brought ourselves right back here partly we brought ourselves right back here because this is becoming an active time in this area where a lot of tourists get out. It's getting comfortably warm, but not too hot. So this is the start of, let's call it, the tourist season. And so it's hard to find nooks and crannies to go out, to be alone enough.
It's harder and harder to find different areas, yeah.
So that's why we decided to come out here again, because we pretty much felt it was safe. And now I'm realizing, oh, we're actually in a temple space where they cannot influence.
No. I'll at the end of the recording, I will turn the camera around and show everyone what this looks like, because this is definitely a protection circle, and I'm not seeing that kind of formation anywhere else. But you can definitely tell the energies in this spot are being
it's
protected.
Formed of trees, and the trees have bent around it. It's pretty kind of cool. I don't think.
I didn't notice that last time we were out here. Yeah.
Well, we were faced the other way.
Yeah.
We were literally turned the other way, so we weren't looking at it. And
this is why this race does not want us here when they're trying to communicate, because I think they're afraid they're going to be in violation of something, because, like some kind of old accord or something.
Well, if you can keep yourself from trying to influence and just have a conversation, I don't think you're going to be in violation of anything. Yeah, the problem is, I think your instincts are to, it seems to me, to always try to invade and influence. And,
it's kind of like, think of like a witch's cauldron or a brew, not to denigrate witches, because there are a lot of good witches out there and warlocks and all this, but think of like a coven, a darker coven, that's standing around some kind of like mirror or portal. And that's how these beings feel to me. Like, people can call on them through this, but they don't always know who they're calling on either. But even if they do know what they're calling on, this is what these beings are speaking through and being summoned through. And this group is very complex emotionally. And they are very complex magically, and it's like they could lay down a curse that could drive someone insane. They could lay down spells that constantly send people into a repetitious loop. They don't realize that their complete Akashic is open because they've lived here for so damn long. They've become part of the environment, and their Akashic readouts are enormous, and what they're responsible for doing. And like they lure people out in the desert. The Draco have been known to do this. Superstition Mountain area, that's a Draco nursery. Draco have been known to do this crap too, where they'll do, if they don't want to come out of their territory, they lure other humans up in there. Think of the Dutchman Mine mythology of Superstition Mountain. That's been found, by the way. The Apache protect that currently. The gold from that, there you can ask them about it at some point in the future. But the Draco, what they will do is they will influence somebody at a distance, because they can use either technology, in their forehead, or with just plain telepathy, using technology, or to amplify it from underground, to lure people out, promises of riches and wealth. Oh boy, we're going to find the Dutchman mine, even though no one has ever found it other than the Dutchman himself. That sort of thing. Lure people out. That happened to 2 college students that came up into the Superstition Mountains. Their skeletons were found with 2 holes in the back of the head. Typical Draco hunting tactic. These guys do something similar, where they lure people out, and I don't know how they get them. When I saw in the other vision sequence, as they like to break people's legs and stuff like that. This may be their hunting tactic, where they take the legs out from under people. This is kind of the feeling I get. This is why I feel like they wanted us in their territory, because they may have made their presence known at that point physically. And if you think about the dirt areas of Phoenix, far outside the city, in that area. If you've ever been between Casa Grande and Phoenix and Tempe, it's dirt. Everywhere, dirt. And there's some rocky outcroppings in the distance, and mountains and hills and such. That's the kind of territory you'd expect these guys to be in. And they seem to be finding water somewhere just fine. They seem to be living just fine out there, like a tribe that lives in the desert. That's essentially what it is. Or think of an African tribe that hunts and lives in desert areas. That's basically how they when they communicate, they do that, and they sound like almost like an African tribe, in a way, when they talk. But when they were talking in that backwards speak, they were doing this like spell type of thing, and they. I would not recommend to anybody call out to them.
Well,
at all.
and that is the question.
Yeah.
I mean, are people calling out to them, or are people calling out to something and they
don't know what it is?
And they don't know what it is? And I just get this really strong feeling that they're bored.
Yeah, they're isolated.
It's like bored, and they really, for whatever reasons, are annoyed with humans, and so they're answering the calls, kind of things like that, because it's something playful and fun for them to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get this. Yeah, that's a good term from. They have this bored streak about them, because I feel like they're down in underground somewhere doing their thing, and it looks like they're using like old technology too, like it's like maybe Anunnaki based type of tech or something like that. There are some dogmen tribes that have been known to use old tech as well, like some negatively based ones or mischievously based ones where they've had technology that was Atlantean based, and they wouldn't know how to recreate it, but they were just using it. Like, we have a cell phone, do you know how to build one? No. It's like that with them. I'm thinking they're using something that I don't think they could rebuild if we broke it. That's the thing. Or if they broke it, they wouldn't know how to have something new. I believe they're probably on a spot that actually helps them power-wise. Possibly a power spot somewhere down in that area, especially Sedona. All the energy flowing through there. They probably have one of those magic mirrors, let's just say, or cauldrons in a spot there. And it's black. It's almost like black goo, but it's silvery, And I've seen these things before. These are pieces of technology, and they look almost like a pedestal. I've seen Orions use these things. The winged Orions, the angelic-looking ones. It usually has a flame or something in the center, but this just has like this wavy goo in the center, and that's what these guys are using. But it looks older. It doesn't look like it's been taken care of that well. And they seem to think that I'm not going to see any of this. See, the energy works two ways, everybody. You can get all the information about any attacker, any information about any attacker.
As soon as they make contact in your energy field, the stream flows both ways.
Goes both ways. Yeah, the information, if they try to gather information about you, you can get it about them almost instantaneously if you open that part of you up. And they're trying to annoy me with all these damn bugs all over the place out here, and the temperature's dropping pretty quickly out here too. I've noticed it's getting really cold in this spot. So, and what is it that you want to say to them? I don't think you counted on us taking it this far. So,
in all honesty, let's just be truthful. I'm assuming, in all honesty, if tomorrow you were asked to come sit at a table across from humans and other races that were here in order to discuss how we were all going to get along, you actually may not want to be present. Would you come to the table, or would you walk?
When you said may not want to be present, they want that as a fact.
That's what I'm saying.
Aww.
So it's an interesting dynamic right now, because the only word that keeps replaying in my head is, they look at us as their cat toys. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That, they feel dominance by the fact that they have the telepathy. They literally get bored, and we become their amusement by their manipulative. So they are literally in accordance with the other races. The other races are kind of perturbed because they really aren't honoring what everyone else, and most of them, what most interpret as stay in your lane, stay in your boundary, stay in your territory, and they are choosing not to honor it, I think they think they're getting away with things.
It's like
the other races don't see them doing it either. But
what is your race's name? If you, keep saying over and over again, they have a purpose. They have a ppurpose here. They have a purpose.
Is
So-
this the purpose? Is this the purpose for people to actually discern what's going on?
Uh,
What is your thought of your purpose?
they keep saying they have a purpose and a destiny. It's like it's like to reclaim what was once theirs. Like they had greater territories, I think, at one point, and lived on the surface freely at one point, and that was taken from.
Well, that was taken from a lot of different races because this earth was something totally different way back in the day. So you are in good company if you're claiming that. So, there's no difference than you and the Myrmidon in that area. The Myrmidon feel a lot of things, and they used to walk the surface of the earth before they went under the sea. So, you're in good company with that. But what is your vision of the future when you know that these other races and humans actually exist? Kick the humans off Earth? I mean, what's your goal? How do you foresee you reclaiming what you want?
They're saying as time passes, we will see resolve of humans that have short sight when it comes to difference.
True, but will there be resolve of your race that also has people that are doing the exact same thing? Because, if you feel that it's going to go down where humans are going to see, let's call it the error of their ways, yet you are still allowed to remote influence anybody you want, do you really think that is equitable?
They're saying the people they harass, quote unquote, are the descendants of the ones that stripped them of their resources, the families. That they have genetic markers in them that were placed there by nature, but they would know if they were the descendants of, and the fact that they don't have their memories anymore is irrelevant. That they remember. They have longer memories than humans.
So you're owed by the descendants, almost just like a lineage curse.
Yes.
So you've put a lineage curse on the descendants of the people that, you felt were responsible. You put a lineage curse, let me say that again, on the descendants so that you have them marked, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. You could say that, yes. And they're not making any attempt to hide that.
No, but it's a very interesting thing. It's no different than what we've said. That no offense, and I'm not saying this as a racist remark. I'm saying this as a comparison where every black person in the United States feel they're owed because their descendants were slaves. Their ancestors were slaves. Like we had something to do with that.
And this is how these people are reacting as well. Like resources were taken from them. They're showing me like governmental bodies, like white traders, like explorers, Vikings. They're showing me Vikings, primarily Viking type looking people. That it's like what happened to the natives in this country as well, where the white government, reptilian-backed white government, took land from the Native Americans, and they probably would have done it to the Sasquatch if they could. This is a very similar situation where they're basically showing me big, like burly,
I get
Viking
it.
people.
I get what they're saying. I get what a lot of people are saying when they feel they're owed.
Mm-hmm.
I get what's being said. I'm just saying, how's it really working for you? Because it's probably not working for you. And, you've decided to establish this enormous lineage curse that just perpetuates, honestly, the fighting. So I don't know how you feel that's working for you. And I doubt that you have somehow eradicated these lineages so that they will no longer cause you harm. I don't think that's occurred either. So I
No.
don't feel that, your vengeance is mine type of attitude, has really helped your race at all. I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me how it's helped you.
I said that's an intriguing question. They said it's helped them by being able to monitor and refine certain lineage paths, like corral. If somebody gets outside of the corral, the curse takes hold. But if they stay in their zone or area, or in the ring, basically, and doesn't mind them, they're fine. But if they exit that and go do what they want, like the Viking explorers did, they just did whatever they wanted. It was to them, it was conquest or exploration or storytelling or something like that. And if people go back to how they were when they were more open, they enact the curse automatically enacts itself. And on top of that, then from that point would draw in other beings attracted to it, like greys or like reptilians, mental attacks from other sources that are just catching you in a weak moment. Something like that can deeply affect you. This may, for myself, have stretched back to the Viking period, Viking explorers, or even Templar period, because they were here as well. That'd be white knights, pretty much.
Well, that's what I was seeing. So everything that we saw earlier today and what's been going on with him, you guys did.
Yes, and to recap for people that don't know what the hell we're talking about. For over a month and a half, I've been trying to get rid of this constant entanglement that one could. I heard, it's probably Isaac. I just heard in my head that it's like a cat's ball of yarn. That when the threads gather up, it looks like a ball of yarn that you're playing around with, and essentially that's what an entanglement looks like, is a big ball of yarn. But that was a joke against cats. But it was more likely Isaac spitting something from a distance, but in visual form like that. But I also had this signet, or this ring, that would appear on my ring finger, and what kept it at bay was putting my silver ring on. Silver seems to keep away curses pretty damn easily. So if that's another hint, if you're trying to figure something out and you want a shield from some kind of curse, silver seems to work very well, like it did in the vampire myths, like it did in the werewolf myths. I'm thinking this race's magic is also immunized by silver. This seems to be this type of magic and curse type stuff. Silver always seems to be involved somehow. So that's what kept happening. Entanglements would fill me from that point forward. Things would come in my back, but I would get attacks from other angles. Other enemies that didn't like me would then take advantage of the situations, basically kicking in the nuts when you're down. And essentially what they're doing. They like to take credit for doing it. This group actually did it. The original bricklaying of this. So I'm thinking at this point it's Viking related, like Viking explorer time frame or seafaring time frame when they took their dragon ships out. And
I'm sure it was medieval times too.
Medieval times.
I have a feeling because of what I was seeing, it was multiple lifetimes with, let's say, incursions to them, and which just grounded the lineage curse deeper and deeper, because that's what you're saying. If I've heard correctly, what they're saying is they are monitoring certain lineages. So if you keep reincarnating through those certain lineages, and if you keep doing the, let's call it, offense, and then you do it again. It's like entangling deeper into the lineage curse, because their goal is to, in a sense, I don't know what other words to use, break you. It's like trying to break a wild horse or break something like that. I'm assuming
They said a yoke.
a yoke. So again, okay, so we're having this conversation and understanding of what you've been doing. Okay.
Yes.
And
now you've been found out. Yes.
And so again, I say, really, what did you truly accomplish? Because people still explored, people still crossed into your territory, probably not just humans, but other races as well. And so again, I still ask the question. You gave us all of the logic behind why you were doing something. What was your intention? It seems to me all that has occurred to you in your race over time is that more and more races outside of the human race are actually pushing you further and further into a smaller circle. That
Yes.
you're being more and more pushed into an area, and I'm going to guess part of it is that that other races are disapproving of your tactics. So
People that can sense them, are disapproving
but
of it.
not just humans. I think the Sasquatch are pushing you. I think there's some of these other races. I think these elementals here would not be approving if you were doing that in their territory, and so you're being pushed to be made to stay in smaller and smaller circles because humans have invaded the Phoenix area. So your once desert outpost is not your sacred spot anymore. It's having to be shared, and so your goal of creating a safe zone for yourself, I hate to tell you this, and let me explain how the energies work. When you start to entangle with people, there's a thread there. So you may have people that are exploring and they're being drawn to the thread. They're actually being drawn to go to you in your territory because you've created a thread. You're no longer invisible. So it's a very interesting thing that you've done. I'm not judging you for why you did it. I'm just telling you, I don't feel that you will get out of it what you want, because I think you may have actually caused more harm to your race and gotten the opposite result of what you wanted. So, somewhere along the line, with a lot of races, including the human race, you got to rethink what you've been doing and why you've been doing it. So that we can all potentially come to the table. So I just say that to you again. Have you really accomplished what you set out to do all these years ago?
Not exactly. They're saying it's waned in recent years. It did work fully at one point where they had more of a grip, an iron grip, and they were able to more easily keep people either away or draw them to. Now, there are more accords in place. That doesn't matter how long you've been here, there's certain actions that aren't jiving with the new energy anymore, or with galactic treaties and stuff like that. There are far more races here than they've wanted. Ones that show up that aren't from here, and ones that have been here that are now commingling with each other, and they don't like it. They tolerate it, is what they're saying. They're tolerating this. Would they sit at the same table currently? No, but they're being driven towards that. That ends. It's one
Out of necessity, because if you
necessity.
want to survive.
Yes.
Or you're going to have to be escorted to a new planet of your own. Because if you want that kind of privacy, let's say, which I honestly don't even believe you do want that privacy, because I think you get very bored, and I think you partly interfere because you're bored. I think you do some of that out of play. I think that is your instinctual way.
Yes, boredom, and they're also trying to delay me from revoking this curse too. So it's like, now that I know what the hell it is, what's your species name? What is your tribe name? I can't pronounce that word, but I can't. That's in your language. Can you translate that to English? It's in that guttural language. What would it be translated to in our language? Translates to desert farers or desert dwellers. But that's very vague. For a revocation, I would need something more precise. As you know, spells have to be, and curses have to be precise. And the way that if you're really accepting the fact and tolerating the fact that you have to sit at the table, you got to spill the beans here. What is the nature of the curse, other than tagging the possible soul or tagging the genetics? What is the nature of that? What would that look like? That looks like they're reluctant to undo it. That's the they said if they undo it for one, it undoes for all of them.
Well, it's running down the female line because the IL I saw was female, so they know that the female produces the next generation in the line.
But why would it hit a male then?
Because, well, being an offspring, but there's something really strong about it. I'm just telling you what I saw, and what I saw in both of those scenarios, like we were talking about, is there was a female. Because it goes through obviously the birth process is through the female. So
yes,
you actually anchored it, even though it's hitting him. When the lineage curses start, you anchor it somehow to the females giving birth through the lineage line.
Oh, I'm beginning to understand also. Oh, I get it. It's not just because the birthing female. They were able to do it because in the SSP I used female forms. Okay. They were because of the codes. They had to have codes to anchor to, and they couldn't do it. Even though my ancestral line committed whatever action that they're accusing my line of, it wasn't just that. That's why I couldn't get rid of it, because of the fact that in the SSP there were times where I did the female body thing. So. You didn't want me to see that. So they were able to take some of those codes and flip them. Tag not only the lineage, but they were able to use that as a rudimentary anchor. But it started to create a rub because of the fact we jumped timelines so much. So, ooh, you didn't like that. You poked me in the ear. Okay. It's starting to drizzle out here too. All right. Yeah, and you guys are doing this too. It appears they have the ability to magically control weather too, and make it colder, because it's dropped like by 20 degrees here since we've been standing here. In a matter of the time we've been standing here. So, at this moment in time, I revoke any curses, tags, bindings, or sigils that you've attached not only to those female codes, but to my Viking heritage or heritage that it was birthed through the female side, since Vikings also revered female forms and Scandinavians revered female forms. That's also where it came from. I'm revoking that as of this moment in time in all dimensions, expressions, timelines, collapsing, invading timelines, and in all multiversal, omniversal, and super omniversal situations. I mirror this across time and space where appropriate, under the supervision of True Benevolent Source Creator, True Benevolent Earth Mother, and the True Benevolent Verses. I also ground this into the Benevolent Earthly Akesh and the Benevolent Galactic Akeshes as of this moment in time, mirrored across time and space where appropriate. It is forever so in all moments and all sessions. That's what I mean by one curse being broken. It breaks all of them. Not immediately, but it makes it available to everyone to do so. So that means everyone that they've done this to has now the option of undoing it, either through artificial coding that's been put there to get rid of, or through the natural birthing coding. So, and anything that's in my genetic lineage that is not mine, that an ancestor agreed to because of this, supposedly, hint, hint, that is also revoked as of this moment in time. You guys didn't like that, did you? You didn't think a human was capable. Ooh, you guys are hissing too, like cats. Like, no, they don't like that at all. And they just vanished. Okay. They went into like a spin, and then they just whatever method they were using to communicate, they closed it. They closed the conduit. So there you have it, folks.
But you know, their story's no different than a lot as far as their desires of maybe being here before this planet became such a slave planet. And you know, again, guys, way back in the day, before the darkness came in and things started to happen, this was a place shared by a lot of races. This was really a very nice hub. And so this disastrous kind of negativity that came in, it did harm everybody. It did harm all the races. And somehow we got to figure our way out of it and trying desperately to be as inclusive as possible. So, you know, I hope they think about it, because it hasn't worked for them, what they were trying to do. They know now it's not working for them. And, you know, it's everyone's personal choice whether they eventually want to try to negotiate out how they want to negotiate out. And I do feel that some of them are just going to be escorted to someplace else if they can't, again, play in the sandbox with the others.
Ironically, they are playing in the sandbox, so yeah.
So, I mean, but if they can't, you know, there's going to have to, you know, come some resolution. I say that no different than I say for even the Nazis. I can actually see them deciding to be wanting to still be a pure race and choosing to leave to go somewhere else, that they may already have roots somewhere else where they've established on a planet or asteroid or someplace, and they are wanting to be separatists. And I'm like, that's fine as long as, you know, you choose to play nice in the sandbox when we get together. So, you know, so it's hard to predict what's going to happen. And eventually all of this is going to have to, one way or another, be negotiated and dealt with. So
yes,
who knows?
Yes, yeah, it's, definitely. This may not seem like this, but this is a form of negotiation, what is being done. Even though we called them out, this makes it so that they have to adapt and change as a result of what's just happened. We were a big enough kind of pain in the ass for them. Think bugs. Big enough pain in the ass for them. So what they did is exactly what they did. It's basically the same thing as hanging up the phone. They just basically went slam, you know, at the moment. They couldn't maintain that conduit because they were using that anchor from this curse to be able to establish a form of harassment. And it didn't matter what the ancestor did. Didn't matter what that female coding did. Let's just put it that way. It was still wrong. But it also allowed me to find the pathway back to this. You know, and even them revealing themselves and wanting their time on camera still allowed me to figure this out. And this shows that nothing can be hidden, folks. They came out in the open for a reason, because the curse thing wasn't working for them and they were hoping they could carry this on a little longer. They came out in the open thinking they could say their piece and get people to agree with it a little longer. It doesn't work that way. It's one of those things, they either have to cooperate in a more open world, or they can step aside. And in this case, their corner of the world was getting smaller and smaller, even by their own ancestral lines, which would be Lyran. Lyrans didn't like them for this reason. They didn't like the fact they harnessed people. That's more than likely why they didn't like them and said that they were dangerous. So this was laid out in a way that we would understand it. Also, the whole thing with the whole werewolf thing, I don't understand the whole venom thing that the Lyrans were warning about, like from a bite, like you'd expect, like a werewolf or a scratch. You know, I don't know how that applies to that kind of mythology. I just know that's what the Lyrans explained to me. If I figure it out, I'll put it in the description of this video. But that was that may have also applied to a curse, like what it was called, like the werewolf's curse back in medieval times. This applies to something like that. I have this feeling that this same lineage, or this same group, may have had some holdings in Europe at some point. Now I'm feeling a chill inside because of that. That's where I'm getting that from. But at this point, I'm going to show you this circle of trees that I said I would at the end of the video. And this is what we're talking about here.
Make sure you look through the camera to see that they can see what you're seeing.
Oh yes, they can. See this, folks? This group of trees. Let me get this down here. You see how these are all in a circle here? And these are all together. You see it's like a ring. Fairy rings tend to look this way.
And then the one in the back, which has multiple branches coming off of it.
That one
Look
there?
how the branches have formed like an altar space. I think it's very interesting. And literally, I guess I'll do it if I can get around there, because there's dead cactus right here. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, when walking that, you're going to bring spikes back on your shoes. But
Well,
yeah.
you could literally, I don't know if they can see,
Yeah.
you can literally go and enter into the center of that, walking between those two light brown branches. And literally there's a whole space in there that people could sit under it if they wanted to as well. More of like, again, a protection, altar space, meditation space, whatever you want to refer to it as. But we didn't see this last time because we were turned the other way.
Yeah, we were turning the other way.
It's really a very interesting place right here. And there is something very sacred about that space. I
Yes,
don't
there
know
is.
what it is.
This feels like a sacred elemental space, fairy ring, like you'd also see in medieval Europe. This is why probably medieval references were coming up as well. Fairy rings would kind of look like this with the trees. There are some sequoias, like on Vikings property, that are fairy rings as well, that are similar to this. Sacred elemental spaces, fae. I believe this was another reason that these beings couldn't enact their magic here, was this area here that you're looking at. And I find that very, very interesting that this has popped up this way. I'll even take some photographs of this for our Facebook. But this is actually quite interesting. Even those other elementals, the reason last time with the other elementals, I was able to get away with using the ghost box on this spot because of this. It didn't seem like it was a corruptible area for some reason. And we're in this exact same spot where those dog beings were. Those elemental dogs that we told you about that were very kind. They looked like coyotes and wolves kind of put together. This is that same identical spot in this area. We just didn't see this before, and probably a good reason. We were supposed to learn more about this, but I feel this is a sacred spot or ring. And I'm seeing motion in here, like elementals and fae, and I believe there's some fairy and elves in this area as well. And we were told by that other group that there were fairies and nymphs and elves and stuff in the area as well. Good intention and bad intention. And this is very interesting that this would pop up. So I'm going to end this here. So thank you everybody for watching this premiere episode of The World of Cat People. Thank you everybody.